Hello class, welcome back to online class of English language, and today in this class I am going to teach you the topic direct and indirect speech, or it is also known as quoted or reported speech. So first of all, you should know what is direct speech. Okay, what is called direct speech? Direct speech is actually the actual words spoken by the speaker is known as direct speech. Alright, and indirect speech is the reported form of the actual words spoken by the speaker is known as indirect speech or reported speech. Like for example, here you can see one example I have taken here. Indirect speech, he said to me, I am going. Okay, now here this is a direct speech. How will you know? Here is a comma and it is in double quotation. This sentence I am going is in double quotation. So this indicates it is a direct speech spoken by, this is the actual word spoken by the speaker. Okay, and indirect speech, it will be reported form. So you will remove all the inverted commas and all in the indirect form. So he said to me that, you are adding this is reported verb here as that here. He said to me that he, this I is changing into he was going. So this verb is also changing here, that means tense is changing, so am is becoming was, he was going. So in this way you will be able to change. He said to me that he was going. So in this way you will be able to change from direct speech to indirect speech. Okay, so one by one now I'll be explaining you the rules of changing from direct to indirect speech, how you will change it. All right, there are 7 rules to remember in reported speech. Rule number 1 says, reported speech is always written in past tense. Like for example, is become was, are become were, has become had, yesterday the previous day, tomorrow the next day, this, that. Let us take an example now. The king said, I will give a reward tomorrow. Now let us check first the word will and tomorrow. Like here, the word will becomes would and tomorrow becomes next day. So you have to change these words in the past form. Now rule number 2. Reported speech is always written in third person. Like we have first person, second person and third person. First person like I, me, mine, myself, we, our, ours, ourselves. Second person you, your, yours, yourself. And third person he, she, his, her, him, her, himself, herself, they, them, themselves, likewise. So we have to follow this third person's rule in changing. Let us take an example. The king said, I will give a reward tomorrow. So here, like I becomes he in the third person. He would give a reward the next day. Like the tense we have already changed. Now rule number 3. When the speaker asks a question which can only be answered in yes or no. So we have to add if or whether in such questions. Like example, The king asked, "Do you want to live your life?" Like this is yes or no type of question, isn't it? So in such questions, what we are supposed to do is we have to add if or whether. Like the king asked if he wanted to enjoy his life. Now rule number 4. Rule number 4 says, when the speaker speaks a sentence, add that. Let us take an example. The king said, "Our kingdom is safe from enemies." When the speaker speaks a sentence, add that. It is already said. So the king said that his kingdom was safe from enemies. So in this way you will be able to change. Now rule number 5. When the speaker gives a command or a request, so what we need to do is add to. Let us take an example. The king told, "Get out of here." The king said, "Please sit down." Now all these are type of question that puts a command or a request. So such questions you need to add to it. The king told to get out of there. The king requested to sit down. Now rule number 6. When the speaker asks a question that begins with what, where, who, how, etc., do not add anything. Replace said with asked. Let us take an example. The king said, "Where is my crown?" So it is beginning with where. So we'll replace with asked here now. The king asked, "Where was his crown?" So in the reported verb, asked. Now rule number 7. The rule number 7 says, do not change the dialogue into the past tense. When the dialogue is universal truth. Like example, the king said, "The earth is round." Like the earth is round. Yesterday also the earth was round. Today is also earth is round. So we cannot change such sentences. Okay. So the quoted word should not be changed. Okay. It will remain same. Like here, the king said the earth was round will be wrong, because you cannot change the tense here. The quoted word will remain same. So the answer should be, the king said that the earth is round. It will remain same. So these are the 7 rules that you have gone through, which is very important and essential for you all. So let us revise once more. In rule number 1, reported speech is always written in past tense. Rule number 2, reported speech is always written in third person. Rule number 3, when the speaker asks a question which can only be answered in yes or no, add if or whether. Rule number 4, when the speaker speaks a sentence, add that. Rule number 5 says, when the speaker gives command or a request, add to it. Rule number 6 says, when the speaker asks a question like what, where, how, when, who, etc., such questions should be replaced with asked in the reported verb. And rule number 7 says, do not change the dialogue into the past tense if the question means the quoted words, the actual words spoken by the speaker is a universal truth, so such words we cannot change it. So these are the 7 rules for you to remember. Now let us solve some example so that you will be aware of such questions and it will be easier for you all to solve. Like here, Johnny said, I spent all my pocket money yesterday. So answer should be, Jenny said that she had spent all her pocket money the previous day. So yesterday changing into previous day, you can check here there. Next sentence, Maria said, is she reading this book now? Yes or no type of question. Maria asked if she was reading that book then. Now change into then. You said, don't open this door. This is a command or order. So you told not to open that door. Jason said, who gave him this book yesterday? Now this is WH question. So Jason asked who had given him that book the previous day. Next, the president said, the Ganga is the holy river. Universal truth question. The president said that the Ganga is the holy river. So such sentence we are not supposed to be changing. So in this way, you will be able to solve such questions.